Why do our older loved ones often resist against listening to us when we're giving them very sensible advice? Well, I want to go over some of that today. So there's three things that they primarily resist against. And it's not always logical, right? And then there's two things you should really do about it. And then there's one thing that you absolutely shouldn't do about it. So let me explain. All right. So let's talk about the three things that are kind of the most typical thing that people resist against. Number one is your parent doesn't want to feel weak, right? They don't want to come across like they've kind of lost here. And sometimes pushing to get to assisted living, it's hurtful to their pride. A lot of people have a lot of pride in staying in their home and they want to be independent. But maybe it's not set up well. Maybe they're not getting enough interaction with other people. But that's one of the big barriers to overcome. The number two is they don't really see themselves as weak, maybe as they are. They don't seem inside their head as vulnerable as the real situation is. So it's important to understand that a lot of this is an emotional thing, and that inside their head they're 15 to 20 years younger than they really are. And so there's also emotional attachments to the home, and it's not logic, it's emotion that gets caught up, but it can really hurt people in the long run. Number three is it's just the idea of going to a new community. It's the first day of school again. Nobody really likes that idea of going to the first day of school, trying to create new relationships and feeling a little bit like a fish out of water. There's lots of strategies that I can give you in place that help with that process, but it's a scary thought. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the two things that you can do about it. So the first thing is you got to be a great listener. You got to listen to your parent with a lot of empathy and really understand what it means, what it might be like for them to have to go through this process. And number two is get a real understanding of what the options are. And that's where I come in, is I can help you explain the difference between assisted living and a nursing care situation. It's dramatically different. And I can talk to you about what the costs of in-home care are. Also remind you, if you're helping out in the home, there's a cost to that too. You're giving up things, and you're giving up your time and effort, and a lot of times a lot of money that you could be making somewhere else. And then finally, what's the thing that you shouldn't do? Don't push them too hard. You can kind of pull them into the situation and try to encourage them. But once you start pushing, they're going to build a wall and they're not going to let you through it. So just take your time. This is a process, and good luck to you. If you need my help, please, I encourage you to give me a call, and then we can come up with a good strategy. All right, talk to you soon.